As I'm going through the book of Leviticus, actually through the whole Bible, my goal, just so you know, along with leaving a legacy for the grandkids and teaching material for Kenya, the country, through the few people that I know there, is to refamiliarize myself with how the kingdom of God operates, and operated through the teachings of the Pentateuch, of the Torah, of the Mitzvah. The original intent. I guess you can call me a conservative player when it comes to the Bible. I'm kind of playing around with the whole political system of the world. But anyway, I want to do the best I can to introduce the original intention of some of the rituals of the Bible from Genesis all the way to Revelation. It is a tough thing to commit to and log, which some of the people that off the top of my mind that I can recall who has done this differently than I have, but they've done this. It makes me admire them all the more because it is a major commitment to go from Genesis to Revelation, because the stuff that happens in your life is unbelievable. Not that it was, anyway. So I'm looking at the sin offering as it's described for an individual, for a representative of God, a priest, and for the representatives of the people. I didn't see that before. And there is an offering, which, and let me throw this in there. Those who say we're in the dispensation of grace and mercy, the fact that there is an offering for your sin is giving you mercy. This is not a New Testament phenomena, or this is not a Greek and Roman phenomena. This is not a Jesus phenomena. This is a God phenomena. It was built into the system to give you a door out, to give me a door out, to give us a door out. The challenge is we don't take the doors out. We act as though the people sin, but the leadership is exempt. Now, this is me, study to show yourself approved, but I believe that is speaking of the leadership that represents the 12 tribes. Because keep in mind, in our previous readings, he called Israel to the priesthood, not just the Levitical priesthood, as we like to say. Not saying that that's not true, because this is all being done through Levi, but the original intent in the book of Genesis, as we read, was he called, I think it was Genesis. Yeah, I think it was Genesis. He called Israel to the priesthood. He says he will make you a priesthood. Israel, not Leviticus. not Levi. Israel. At minimum 12 tribes. 12 sons plus 2 adopted sons. But again, we won't get into that because I want to keep it simple, and I want to, because it all unfolds anyway as we get further and further into the study. Because it's not about confusing people; it's about making sure you understand. And let me tell you the reason why I'm really, before I even read this, I want you to understand you have the freedom to offer a sin offering. As a leader, it is a part of the process. In other words, no one, just because you missed the mark, just because you sin without your congregation or assembly being aware of it, doesn't mean you don't have the responsibility to put yourself on blast. Because that accountability is what's holy. Not your fake appearance. The accountability makes it holy. When you're called, you're called. Your perfection does not negate your calling. Your imperfection doesn't negate your calling. What negates your calling is you hiding behind a veil of perfection when in truth you're imperfected. The sin offering and the peace offering is your opportunity to have the blood that's on the horns cover you, and the blood that's at the altar cover you, at the bottom of the altar cover you. If you decide that you don't need the blood, and you don't want to be accountable, you bring sin into your own camp. Which is unnecessary. For some odd reason, we bought into, at least in this generation, and I'm talking about the folks in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, strike that. No. More of the 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, and 2000, maybe not so much the 2020s, because my daughter's pretty transparent. She's working on it. We fought against the idea of being transparent. Don't let nobody in your business. You listen to the marketing. Individual success over group success. That means I don't have to be accountable to anyone. Well, that part needs to go away, and go away quickly, because that's what's stopping the whole body from being successful. Leviticus chapter 4, verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, If a soul shall sin through ignorance against any of the commands of the Lord, which ought not to be done, and shall do against any of them, if the priest, and he moves straight on, if the priest that is anointed do sin according to the sin of the people, then let him bring for his sins. So this is the individual sin section. And then he goes on, young bullock without blemish, sin offering. Okay? And it goes through through what you do there. The part that I really want to highlight in this last couple of minutes, because I'm already over the 10-minute mark. So you understand that there's a sin offering And by the way, that sin offering is through ignorance. So we're not talking about iniquities and transgressions. We're talking about sins, ignorance. If you know what you're doing, that's not a sin. You might be just wicked. But, if you know what you're doing, this is not for you. If you're choosing to do something you know you're not supposed to be doing, this is not for you. This is simply the sin offering. The trick is in verse 8, Leviticus 8. No, the trick is in the priest. If the priest that is anointed do sin according to the sin of the people, then let him bring for him a sin which he has sinned, a young bullock without blemish unto the Lord for the sin offering. This priest, the word for sin there is causing others to become guilty. So, now having gotten to the other part, which is the congregational responsibility, so I think I need to do a second one because I think that one merits a little bit more time. The priest who offers sacrifice on your behalf has the responsibility of going to another priest and offering sacrifice on his behalf. That's why they call it the anointed priest, which I'll get into in the second video. But the goal is that we all cover each other. We have a big problem with judging other people's sin instead of covering each other's sin. So the New Testament version, love covers a multitude of sins. That ain't New Testament. That's Old Testament. See you in the second video.